Hello, and welcome to episode 120 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other spark on the pod. He's the nicest pirate on the Sea of Thieves. He'll board your ship, but he'll leave you with a loaf and a compliment. It's Mr. James Thomas.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like I'm compelled to make bread for all the pirates I meet.
It's like, sorry, I've destroyed your ship. Here's a loaf.
Yes. Actually, it's a distraction technique. Please look at my baked wares where my friends just steal your chest from down below.
Superb. Hello, sir. How you doing? How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. It's been, I think we were both saying before we started recording, it's been a weird week because it's been very snowy.
Yes.
Up and down. I don't know how it's still lingering around down south, but it's all gone up in the Midlands after causing chaos for about 3 or 4 days. And as I'm sure we say every time we bring up snow on this podcast, the Europeans and people who have to deal with this on a far more regular basis must laugh at us rotten, because there was a whole, wait for it, 1 or 2 inches in the Midlands and everything went to hell. It was just insane. But to the point where, because a few of us are working late every now and again, thankfully I've been avoiding this part of things, but we have been ordering pizza most nights at work. So we have got a very good relationship with our local Domino's. Other pizzas are available. But it got to the point on the Thursday night when the snow started coming down that even Domino's refused to take the challenge to come across the Warwickshire countryside to visit us.
Wow.
And it meant that our studio head took one on the chin and decided to go down to the local McDonalds to pick up a run for us. It took him 2.5 hours to go 5 or 10 minutes down the road because he had the worst luck. Not only did the snow pick up as he was going there, but he was also stuck behind a lorry that then beached itself across the road. So he was there for a good hour and a half, I think, just waiting for a tractor to try and pull the lorry out so everyone could get by. I mean, at least the McDonald's was there to keep him warm. But then again...
So he had a big bag of McDonald's,
Yeah, he had 50 orders of McDonald's, I think, in his car from the sound of things. So goodness only knows what that smelt like the next morning.
What a good boss.
Oh, yeah.
What an awesome boss. Now, how many did he eat? Because, you're stuck in the snow. You're like, I'll just have a Big Mac. It's just like...
Can you imagine that if you got back? I mean, everyone from the studio was pretty much told to go home because it was just go. The snow's getting worse. Please go home. So I think that was probably best. Otherwise, he'd got there and go, Craig, where's my chips? Can you go back and get my chips? You've obviously eaten my chips on the way back.
You didn't get my dip. Yeah. Where's my dip? I wanted ketchup.
So yeah, fair play for him to take one for us all and try and get some food. But it disrupted the entire weekend because I ended up working from home on the Friday. Saturday was pretty much a write-off, as well as the roads and pavements were still under the icy stuff. And then Sunday it was just heavy rain to try and get rid of it. It was a bad weekend for getting out.
Yeah, no, it really was. I mean, I've basically been working... I'm going into London tomorrow, but I've been working from home for almost 2 weeks. So, because I had to work from... I normally go to London on Friday, and I had to work from home on the Friday because of the stuff that's happening in the movie room. And so then the following week it just snowed. So I was due to go in on Tuesday, got snowed in on the Tuesday, and then we all just decided that it wasn't worth it. You could soldier in, you could get in on the train, but then you would never know if you could get back out again. So it was so we all just decided, we chatted online and we all just said, right, we're all going to stay home on Friday. And we did. The great thing about the technology that my team and the infrastructure team that we put in at our place is that we can all do it. We all work remotely. It didn't stop us at all. Everyone was online. We have our big meeting on a Friday morning. Everyone was just around VidCons, from their home. So it just didn't stop productivity at all. It just kind of stopped us getting out of the house because it was -7 down south, and it was just so cold. It was just so cold.
I know. It's been the good thing with this project as well. The technology to remote in. If I've previously had to work late. It's been stuck in the office all hours, but it's been quite nice, coming back, seeing Ali, doing a bit of extra work most evenings, but just on the sofa using the laptop. And I think it just shows how much automated testing we've got. The fact we can do that rather than having to play the game through the remote connection.
Yes. That just sounds so cool. So I think that was kind of, like I say, this weekend, it was just because it was so cold, and it started, I mean, I think on Saturday afternoon it got up to maybe 1 or 2 degrees, and we thought it was like a heat wave.
Tropical.
Because my shower froze.
No.
So on Wednesday morning, got up to have a shower, nothing. So nothing came out. Nicola was going, could we call a plumber? And we just decided to leave it. And then on Saturday, it defrosted. Finally defrosted on Saturday.
So it didn't crack it. It was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It just no water coming through. Everything else, we had running water, we had a bath and all of that sort of stuff. But we had no running water in our shower, and that was it.
I think Manny had something similar. I think Manny was in the loft with a hairdryer trying to thaw out his pipes as well. So,
just because that's what he does at the weekend. His wife's like, "Where's Manny?" Oh, he's up in the loft with a hairdryer.
He's defrosting his paps again.
Exactly. So so like at the weekend, we just decided not to do anything. I think the highlight of the weekend was we got our haircuts, and then as soon as our hairdresser left, we just got back into our PJs. And that was like, so we were dressed nice when the hairdresser arrived.
Sorry, I'm just going to pull you back on this one. You have your hairdresser come to you.
Yes. I used to. They used to. So there used to be a really cool hairdressers in Tunbridge Wells, and then it shut down. But then my hairdresser started to do like kind of house visits, so she comes to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's so cool. So she came. So we had we were dressed nice, and then as soon as she left, we were just yes. As soon as she left, like PJs were on, and that was it. We made like a short rib stew on Saturday and lamb on Sunday. It was all wintry foods, and just did nothing but watch some movies and play lots of games.
Nice. What did you watch over the weekend?
We watched Lady Bird.
Oh, I really want to watch that.
Yeah, so Lady Bird, which is really cool. We watched. I'm continuing my trawl through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we watched Thor: Into a Dark World, which is a lot better than I remembered. So
I always damning with faint praise at that point.
It did no. It's because I always had it as one of those. It's like Thor to Dark World. I kind of know what happens, and I kind of had it low on the list. But I sat there and I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was just really good. So, and then we watched, what else? We watched loads of stuff on Netflix as well. We were just sitting there and watching kind of like TV programs. It was just really cool. I really enjoyed it. Started watching Mute, which is the new one from Duncan Jones, who is David Bowie's son, which is on Netflix, which is really good. Started watching that. And I don't think Nicola's into that, so I'm going to continue watching that on my own. So, which is really cool. And I watched bits of, there's a comedy program, very much for you, comedy stand-up. It's called Stand Up for Drummers.
Oh, I think I've seen this flash behind the adverts. Is it actually about drummers, or is it just happened to be titled like that?
It's the entire audience is made up of drummers. And
is that a good thing?
No, it's really good.
Everyone the drumming on the chairs when they get irritated.
Yeah. Exactly, the guy who does it, he's a comedian. I've seen him in like Saturday Night Live and spots, and he basically just does. There's lots of drumming jokes. It's like, there's lots of drumming, like how many times you've done, there's lots of drumming jokes. And then towards the end of this Stand Up for Drummers, he actually goes through the history of drums. And he has about 10 different drum sets through kind of like the 50s, 60s, cool. 70s, 80s, and how they all sound different and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So there was a couple of bits in it that I really enjoyed, because this is a second watch free, so I just kind of jumped to different parts of this show on Netflix, and it was really funny. It really made me laugh. There's one bit where the guy, whose name escapes me right now, he goes through a map of America doing all of the different kind of dialects, all the different twangs, all of the different sounds, and the way he does it is just genius. It's absolutely genius. And it was like, so we were just jumping around, just choosing anything, being really lazy, and I was like, I just watched that bit again, and it was really cool.
Nice.
Highly recommend it. And I'm sure you'll get lots of the jokes that kind of went went above my head.
How many punchlines ended with paradiddle?
There was a paradiddle, because I had to Google what a paradiddle was. I was going to ask you, I was like, James, what's a paradiddle?
Left, right, left, right, left, right. Yeah.
That's the unlock code for Mega Man, isn't it? So let's jump into what we've been playing. And what have you been playing, sir?
Well, I've been going for a blast from the past because the main thing I've been playing this last couple of weeks has actually been Pokemon Snap.
What?
Manny and I started talking about the what was it called? OSSC, the open source scan converter. And I think I've brought this up on the pod before, but it's basically a bit of kit that is a lagless import, I guess, of a composite or VGA connection, and it spits it out into HDMI, and it does something like FrameMeister in terms of like takes a potentially an analog signal, stabilizes it, and then kicks it out to HDMI. And so the N64 looks really crisp, like super crisp, nothing like you will have ever seen before on smudgy, blurry CRT live. But it means that actually going back to some of these games is an utter joy, because the sprites that were, I guess, hidden behind the blur before pop out like nothing before. So I'm actually enjoying going back, and Pokemon Snap was one of these games that I never played the first time around. Couldn't afford many of these big cartridges when I was at uni. So, and I'm happy to say that Pokemon Snap really stands up to today's standards. This isn't any sort of rose-tinted glasses looking back on it. I'm really enjoying playing it. I'm googling for hints but not spoilers, just to try and get me a bit further in it, and it's been keeping me going for a good couple of weeks.
Wow.
So Pokemon Snap, for those of you who don't know, is effectively an on-the-rail shooter, except you've got a camera instead of a gun. And it does this really nice job of sending you through Pokemon Island, going through all the different sort of like styles of environments, so be it like the beach area or a grassy valley or some caves, a lava world. And on each side of the track tends to be a whole menagerie of Pokemon as they just Pokemon about. Some are just like sitting around in nests, some are interacting, some are just running amok, and you have to try and capture them with your camera in the best pose possible, I guess. And to do that, they give you a few not weapons. You see, it's not a shooter. It's not a shooter. A few tools. You've got some apples that you can throw around to tempt Pokemon out of the environment, or just to throw at their heads. You've got balls that sort of make them come out of hidden caves or what have you, and you've even got, a poker flute that will make them certain ones dance. And so using this big combination of things, you can try and just get Pokemon you can just see into closer or more interesting poses, or you have to try and figure out, there's so many secret Pokemon knocking around that you have to do X, Y, or Z. It's like some of them are really convoluted. Like you have to throw a certain number of balls into a whirlpool, and that will bring out some star Miis, and then you have to photograph 3-star Miis, and then they'll go into the next whirlpool and turn into a star U. It's weird, but it means that the replay value of going through each level is superb, as you just don't know what you're gonna see or what might happen if you start prodding in different areas. But yeah, yes. It's really got me. It's really got me.
That sounds so cool. It must have passed me by. I think I remember it coming out, like it was always like a Pokemon Safari type thing. I think I remember coming out, but never played it. But it sounds like a great fun.
Yeah. It's the only thing letting it down really is just like the low poly models in it, and that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, superb.
Yeah,
that's just so cool.
I honestly think they've got such a really nice like progression curve in it as well, because for a game that is it's almost just like you go through 6 backgrounds and that's it. Like on paper it looks really thin, but the way they drip feed the things to you, like you get the apple after a while, you get the other ball, you get the flute after a while, and just like they slowly give you more ways or more hints to go back through the previous environment. So they do an awful lot with not very much. So
So are you trying to fill like a scrapbook up or a photo album or something like that with all the different Pokemon? So is that the kind of goal of it? Yeah,
that's exactly it. So Professor Oak sends you off with an album that you have to try and fill, and you get points for just simply getting all the Pokemon. But then, the better the picture, the more points you get. Although I swear this man has not been on any photographic or artist training course at all. Like, he doesn't accept any subtlety. It's like he wants the Pokemon as big as possible in the centre of the image. Like, what about the rule of thirds? I want it stylishly off to the right-hand side, maybe just sitting in the base. Like, I want a nice background for it. No, this man wants it big, and he wants it right there in his face. It's just no subtlety.
I can see you writing an angry letter to the Pokemon Company. It's like, dear Pokemon Company,
we need this re-released with some class.
Yes. That just sounds so much fun. It's really cool. So has that just been something that's been in your collection but you've never got around to playing it? Or did you buy it for, like, because you wanted to try out your OSSX or C?
It's been around for a while. I think a while ago I got a job lot of N64 cartridges, and this just happened to be within them. It even had the $3.99 sticker still on it, so it might have come from like a car boot or somewhere like that. But it's just been on the pile of shame for about 20 years. So
because I've seen Manny is playing some Dreamcast, isn't he? I've seen there's been some pictures that he's posted. Kind of, he's playing Dreamcast at the moment.
Yes,
on that, and that just seeing that, and I think he was playing Virtual Soccer the other night, and just seeing that, I was like, oh, maybe I should get one of these, because I love the idea of just being able to fire up the Dreamcast again.
Yeah, we were talking about it before he took the plunge with it, and I said, like, even if you don't want to, even if it's not just for the Dreamcast, you've got to think that so many tellies nowadays do not accept SCART, do not accept composite input, do not accept VGA. The ways of getting these older consoles into a modern telly is diminishing every generation. And so the amount of inputs that the OSSC has got, I think it was 160. I think it's about there. So it's not like a cheap little SCART converter that you can get off Amazon. But you get what you pay for. Like, I've tried that like $9.99 composite to HDMI, and it's rubbish little box that's powered by USB. This is worth the money and then some. So it's future proofing as much as I think, because I can put the GameCube into it, I can put the NES into it through the it's going to pay for itself in the long run.
Yeah, but I just love the idea of having something that's I guess I would attach it to my AV unit, and then it's there.
Yeah.
It's there as almost like an extension that I can then get any retro console that I want and plug it into that. Because in my storage unit, I do have a GameCube, I have a Dreamcast, I have a Saturn, and so I can just plug those in. Because I think when I got them out before, there was a couple that I couldn't plug in, a couple that wouldn't work. So just having something like that, it just sounded cool. And the added benefit that it really does almost kind of up-res all of those graphics as well. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna make that look better. Make Power Stone look better. I'm like, that's it for me. I'm in. That sounds so cool.
That's your killer title to get it going.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I did have a thing the other day. It was just like going to my storage unit, getting the Saturn, and just spending the entire day just going through that collection. I just think that would just fill me with so much joy. It's just that
would have been a perfect way to spend a snowy weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
So, just so good. Yep. So, apart from the brand new Pokemon Snap, what else have you been playing?
I've also been playing the Part-Time UFO, which the puzzled look on your face. Yes. So this is actually a mobile game, and I say that because I don't often play mobile games that aren't like Nintendo fully branded ones. But Part-Time UFO is from HAL Laboratories, which are the people who bring you Kirby and Box Boy. If anyone hasn't played Box Boy on the 3DS, please go do so. It's a lovely little platformer. So I've got this real affinity with HAL Labs, and so as soon as they put out a mobile game, I thought, okay, give this a little blast. And I think it's like $3.99, so the same price as Pokemon Snap. And it's a weird one to describe because you are a UFO, and on the screen it's got a little virtual joystick, which I don't usually like, but they somehow managed to pull off. And you control a little UFO that's flying across the scene, and with a button you drop a claw out the bottom of it as if you were in an arcade trying to win fluffy toys.
Yes.
And so you effectively go around helping various people of Earth, hence the Part-Time UFO, do little jobs with your grabber. So very early on, it just asks you can you please help this farmer put some oranges into the back of his truck? Then it progresses to, can you rebuild this like Greek Pantheon type building, and it's just various ways of using this grabber mechanic, and like they've just dressed it up so nicely into this little spinning cute UFO with this big claw, putting him into different situations. So I've served salads at restaurants. I've constructed cheerleading towers. I went fishing to try and like catch the biggest fish I can. So they do a moderate amount with quite a limited palette, I guess, because it's you've got that mix of how many you can get, how fast can you do it, or even then just try and construct this really precise object. And this is me belittling the entire genre. I really like the feel of it, considering it's on a touchscreen. Like I very rarely found that in touchscreen games, which is why I don't play that many of them. But yeah, it's just really nice, and it's just like this nice 5-minute game that you can do, when you're waiting for bed or what have you. It's just really, really pick up and play.
So is it tricky to control the UFO? What's the mechanic? What's the gameplay like? Are you just going grabbing and then dropping, or does it start getting tricky? How does it ramp up in difficulty?
I guess the difficulty comes from what you're being asked to do, because when you drop your claw down, there's a set of physics involved as well. So as you are swinging this object around, be it like a piece of art, a person or a fish, there is momentum to it. So the faster you move, the faster it moves and it sways around. And so that could lead to you, if you're trying to construct, like one of the ones you have to construct a totem pole, so you have to be really delicate as you put those down and very precise. Or when you're trying to throw fruit in a salad bowl, most of it's round, so if you just literally hurl it, the chances are it'll bounce and roll out and flick out the other side. So it's that mix between delivering it or just trying to place it delicately.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool. That's Part-Time UFO. Is that available Android and Apple?
I think it's all. I think it's the major two. Yeah, Android and Apple. Didn't look on the Windows Phone Store.
Just that still exists. you clicked on the icon and they're like, yeah, what do you want?
There are people still persisting.
There's nothing
at work
here. I'm just looking at the iPad just to see because it sounds like something that maybe could do with a big screen as well. It sounds like that could be cool.
It's got some nice chunky pixel art to it as well, so it works well on the smaller phones, I guess. But yeah, it's having a nice big A4 style palette to work from. Yeah,
that sounds so cool. Part-Time UFO. Yeah, no, I can see it. $3.99 on the Apple Store. Oh, that sounds so cool. That looks really good.
Yeah, it's very cute.
That a try.
Very cute. Yes. Yeah, and the final thing I've been playing, I actually made it to a console of this generation. Life is Strange. The final chapter. Well, I say the final chapter. The final chapter of Before the Storm, which is actually the prequel. Do you know where this sits? Before I say too much, do you know where this sits in the...
It's a prequel to Life is Strange,
That's
isn't
it?
it?
So
yes.
Max and Chloe are both about 13, and I think they're about 18 in the original Life is Strange. So this shows the events before Max left for Seattle with her family.
Right.
And I won't say too more than that, because obviously it's a little narrative game where the story is everything. And I was saying to Ali last night, it's weird going into this one, because at least with Before the Storm, you knew there was going to be a story arc. You knew you were going to meet Rachel and start discovering that friendship. And I know in this is set up to be, Max leaving. So there is a finite point to this relationship in this arc, and it's going to build up to that departure. But I just don't know what's going to happen over like the 2-3 hours that it's going to be around for, because I've ignored all the previews, ignored all the reviews for this. It's just like I'm just so excited to go back to see these characters again.
Yes.
But I'm just nervous about how they're going to fill it. It's like a smallest arc they've got. But they've also got the original voice actors back, because for Before the Storm they had the voice actors strike, and so they had to get someone else in, who I thought did a really good job, actually. Not patronised. I actually really enjoyed what they did with Chloe's voice, so it's weird to go back to the original. So yeah, just started that. Eager to see where it goes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're so tight-lipped about it. So it wasn't over in like one sitting. You didn't kind of get through it all in one sitting.
I only managed to put into about an hour last night. So
right.
If it had been over in that time, I would have been disappointed. So
yes, exactly. So I'm glad it's got a bit of length to it.
Yeah.
No, I've got that downloaded because that was part of the deluxe edition, wasn't it? It was part of the deluxe, but you can also buy it standalone as well. So if you didn't buy the deluxe edition, I think it's about $7.99 or something like that on the UK Xbox Store and PlayStation and stuff. So
to use the metric we're using this evening, that's 2 Pokemon Snaps.
So it's 2 Pokemon Snaps for Life is Strange. Yeah, I can't wait to jump into this. I think last night I knew that I didn't have a lot of time. I was probably similar to you, and I was like, I don't know, because I'm used to just kind of playing an episode and want to sit down, and it's really funny because it's almost been over the weekend before I started playing what I'm going to talk about at the Mo is that I was like, I need to play Batman, Telltale Batman. I'm like, yeah, but I haven't got that time, and I was always just like talking myself out, and there is the Batman chime.
Oh my god. I was more distracted by the fact you had to talk yourself out of playing Batman. It's like, are you ill?
I know. I was just like, what's up with you? But it was almost like, I want to get into it. It's almost like in my head, I would set up this, I want to just sit and play. I've got 3 episodes, I think, and I want to just sit and play them, but I didn't have enough time to play a complete episode, so I didn't play it at all. It was a very weird place to be, and then luckily I started playing what I started playing. So it was just, it was really strange. But I know exactly what you mean. So yeah, though, I can't wait to jump into Life is Strange as well.
So that's it for me this week, sort of scattering myself around the different platforms. But what have you been playing? Have you been smitten with anything?
I have indeed. I am absolutely just in awe of a PlayStation VR title. A little PlayStation VR title called Moss. So we got sent a code for Moss. So Moss is a PlayStation VR title. It's PlayStation exclusive. It's from Bungie developers. I think it's Bungie, GTA developers. I think there is a mix in there somewhere. And Polyarc is the name of the studio. So we got sent a code for it. So I thought, I'll give it a go. It looks cute. Quill, the main character that you play, I thought that looks cute. I'll get the VR out and just kind of see what it's like. And so at the moment I've got kind of lots of stuff around the house. I managed to drag out all of PlayStation VR because I haven't touched it since I think probably July of last year. That was the last time I got the PSVR out. So that took a while to kind of gather all the wires and go, I'm missing one more wire. It really was. The great thing is they are all labelled. I was like, I've got 1, 2, and 3. They're all labelled, aren't they? So, and then I was like, okay, no, it's missing something. And it was flashing up going HDMI. I was like, yep, I need another HDMI lead. Ran back upstairs, got that. And then it was like, I need something else, a power lead. Oh no, I need a power. And I just kept doing that. So it took a good half an hour to kind of get the PlayStation VR set up again. But when I did, so I started playing Moss. Now, Moss is it's incredible. I am so in awe of this game. So what Moss is, it's a VR game. It's a platformer. It's a puzzle platformer where you play as Quill. So you play as Quill, which is this adorable little mouse, which will probably be our thumbnail for this podcast. So you play as a Quill, but you also play as the reader. So you are the reader. They are aware of you, so they break that kind of fourth wall. They are aware of you, and they talk about you throughout the story. And in my second playthrough that I played at the weekend, I leant forward to get a drink or something, and I caught myself in the water, so I caught a reflection of the reader, and it looks very Studio Ghibli. And that just really kind of, and then I moved my head, and this reflection in the water moved its head at the same time, and I was just completely just blown away by that. But so what happens is Moss is almost like it's level by level, and each level is almost like a diorama. And there's puzzles and you're kind of part of that diorama, and you can a couple of times I had to get up to look at the puzzle because maybe the puzzle was behind the wall, or I was looking for these little bonus tomes, these little bonus just little kind of rolled up a paper that was around the level. So I had to get up and look at the level, or I wanted to go down this little corner, so I'm actually getting up. Luckily we had the footstool was there. I'm getting up and leaning on the footstool to look around. It could have been fatal to look around the corner to see where the staircase was that I needed to. So you're doing this, you can, with your controller, you can manipulate certain objects that flash blue, but at the same time, with your left thumbstick and the X and square, you're jumping and fighting with Quill. So you're controlling Quill. So sometimes you're actually holding an object whilst maneuvering Quill around the level at the same time.
So is it actually set up as a... You say it's dioramas. Is it set up as a... You sit in place and you play it? Or is it actually intended for that small sort of world space where you can get up and poke around? Like, is the getting up and poking around, like moving your head, leaning on the footstool, actually part of the gameplay, or just some way that you wanted to explore?
I think it's a bit of both, because there were some levels where I wanted to, because I was trying to get all of these scrolls, so I was looking for those, and they're normally hidden behind little things, which mean you had to get up and look around. But the gameplay is that you are kind of level by level going through this, and like I say, each one just almost presents itself as I mean, there is one where you're in this cavern, and I felt like I was there, but I was my back against the wall, and I was literally looking into this cavern. It's incredible. A couple of times I just took my headset off and I had to pass it over to Nicola, who was playing Mario Rabbids, and I just said, just look at this, put this on and just look at this, because it was mind-blowing. I was so immersed with this game that right at the start I did a few puzzles, and Quill, who is adorable, Quill just basically thumbed up. She gave me a thumbs up, and I gave a thumbs up back. I was just like, I was so into this game that it was. And every now and then, if you don't do what you're supposed to, like, Quill will just kind of make a little cute angry noise and point at what you need to do. It's almost like that over there. You need to take that there, and it's just adorable. It's so amazing. So the game itself was only about 5 hours, not even that, probably about 4 hours, but I took my time, and like I say, I just started playing it again after I finished it. I actually went straight back to the start and started playing it again. Oh, wow. Looking for more scrolls and just enjoying it all over again. And towards the end, the difficulty does ramp up, but it's just, the game is the best thing that I have seen in VR. It's even better than Batman. It's even better than the Batman VR. This is just, I just couldn't believe how amazing it was. Now, the great thing is, obviously, I think it's about a £30 title. It is 4 hours. There is a demo, because whilst I had my PSVR hat on, I started going around all the different kind of VR titles and things. And there is actually it's called PSVR Demo Disc 2, which is available to download. And there's a Moss demo on there. So even if you're not sure, even listening after I'm gushing, and you've got a PSVR, there is a demo of it in the PlayStation VR Disc 2. But it is just incredible. So you play as Moss. Moss then finds this little amulet that she then starts on her adventure. Her uncle goes missing, and you have to go and find her uncle in this castle. And one of the most amazing things that actually just took my breath away was that you're Moss and you're playing as this mouse, but in the background it's the real world. There's one bit where you're very early on, you're just walking across this lake, or you're pulling up, as the watcher or the reader, you're pulling up these little stones for Moss to jump across, and there's a deer, but the deer is huge. And it really does just like take you, and the deer looks at you and then looks at Moss, and you're like, oh, what? And it's suddenly you get this kind of, because you're very protective over Quill, you're very protective over her, and then so at one time I missed a jump and she drowned, and I was mortified, I was like, I gave Nicola the control and she got incinerated. I was like, what did you do?
What did you do to my mouse?
What did you do? But it was just, so you continue on your adventure through the forest and then into this castle, and it is just amazing. The puzzles, whenever you go into a new puzzle, you're then just looking around at the room and going, right, okay, what do I need to do? And it's very easy. The puzzles aren't that puzzling, but at the same time, you do just go, okay, well, I've got that. And you just work it out, and then you have to, between you and Quill, you have to just work out these puzzles. And it's stunning. It is absolutely stunning.
So it sounds like one of the best things that it does then is that sort of sense of, I don't want to use the word immersion, because, if you've got your head in the world, you should be immersed.
Yes.
But the sense of scale, and I think this is one thing that I really enjoyed from my time with VR, is that to try and give you that sense of, I guess, perspective, be it you being very small or very huge, but it allows you to get that full sensation rather than just staring at the telly. So I imagine as you feel only about 2-3 inches tall and staring up at a deer, you will get that sensation that you do not get looking at the flat panel in front of you.
Absolutely, and it was really interesting because I was saying to Nicola, I was saying like, look at this game. As I had the VR headphones on, I knew Nicola was sitting next to me because I kept hitting her every now and then when I was moving. So I said, look at this is incredible. And looking at the screen, so I knew that the smaller TV was on in the room, so she could see what I was looking at. I'm like, look at that, that's incredible. But she said she didn't get it until she put VR on, until she put PSVR on. Then exactly what you were saying there, James. She got that sense of scale. So that flat image that I was showing her, she was like, yeah, that's just a cute little mouse on a, but when she actually put it on, it was when she put it on. It was really funny because she put Quill onto the top of this like pedestal and just zoomed right in, and she was like, "Hello," and the Quill was looking at her, and it was just like that because you're just instantly drawn to this amazing character, this tiny little mouse with like a little bandana and a sword, and she gets given a green glove, which I won't spoil, but it's just amazing.
Wardrobe choices, spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it has a mechanic. So I wanted a figure. I wanted everything. Because Polyarc actually gave away these figures of Quill at last E3. So the first thing I did was like, when I finished, I googled Quill figure, and I thought, then I saw one. I was like, I want that in the movie room. But unfortunately, they were only given out during E3, and so I checked eBay just in case, no, they couldn't find any. So people are holding on to these. They do not want to get them going, and quite rightly so.
It sounds good. But how does the actual control of Quill feel? I mean, it's in terms of the jumping and the platforming. Do you find it that you have to hold your head completely stock still as you are moving them around, or is it quite a forgiving camera that allows you to flow freely?
No, it absolutely allows you to flow freely, because at some point what you can do is there are these little scaraby creatures, and there's a couple of other creatures, but there's these scaraby creatures that will attack Quill, and one of them has like a firing mechanism, and what you can do as the watcher, you have this little blue orb. That's how you know where your controller is. You can put the blue orb over one of these scaraby things and hold it in place. So I'm holding that in place there, looking at it to make sure it's not moving, but I'm still moving Quill and jumping over platforms, and it does the normal gamey thing where any platform that you can jump onto has that little white chalky line, so you know where you can jump. You know what ledge you can pull yourself up on. And there's a few puzzles where you're looking over here, but at the same time you're controlling Quill to just kind of make sure that you can get to that jump. But it works really well. And like I say, there are a few times she disappears around the back, but then you can just get up or move around and look, and there is no kind of camera angle like a normal 3D game. It's very much kind of just there in front of you, and it's amazing. It's funny because I absolutely love it, but it did underline a big flaw for PlayStation VR for me, and that is the resolution.
Oh, okay. Was it not crisp?
It was. I mean, I'm running on a PS4 Pro Gen 1 PSVR, and it's not as, because the game is amazing, and when you're looking at the backgrounds and when you're looking at the castle and things are on fire, it looks incredible. But sometimes when you kind of like you're in a confined space, you notice it's a little bit grainy. You know, you kind of get that. And in my head was just like, oh, this would be so cool if this was like 4K, you know, and I started thinking, you know, kind of Gen 2, and you know, but it's amazing, you know, Gen 2 PSVR. If it came with Moss 2, I'd be like, yep, here's money again. You know, it's just
that's what always got me with Drive Club, because I can remember them basically. The tendency is they have to sacrifice, I guess, resolution for more processing power. So when you were hooning through the countryside on Drive Club, it's you look out the side and you feel like you're on a PS1 title. The granularity of the textures out there, but it's. I always found though that when you were actually in it, it never really bothered me. It's when you tried to take in the details, literally stare at how the world was made rather than the world itself. But I guess that was only when you were like trying to explore to all the nooks and the crannies.
Yeah, absolutely. It was when, like, because right at the start, the game is based on it's a book. So right at the start, you're in a library, and the library is a little bit like the ground hall in Hogwarts. You know, at the one point, it turns into you just got stars in the sky in this library, and you kind of look up, and it just looks a little bit grainy. And that was like, I was like, oh, you know, but I'm not letting it pull me out. I'll just continue, and then you are literally turning the pages of the book with your controller, and just going through this story, and then you go back in, and the whole screen goes white, and then you are just, like I say, you're back in that 3D world, and no matter how many times I play PlayStation VR, I still can't get over the fact, or VR, I still can't get over the fact that there's things behind me. You know, you're looking at the world, you're looking up, you're looking down, and then suddenly you look around, and there's stuff behind you. That's still, every time I play it, it always makes me kind of, it just makes me in awe of VR. But Moss, I can't talk about it enough. I absolutely love. I've just been telling anyone who has ears, you know, kind of how good this game is and how amazing it is. I messaged my nephew and just said, my nephew Ed, who got a VR for Christmas, I was like, you gotta play this. You have to play this. You know, it's absolutely adorable, and it's just the great thing about it. No spoilers, but the great thing about it was you get to the end and they say, and that ends book 1. You know, and, you know, further adventures, and it's almost something like, and then Quill will head off onto her adventures, and then, so it kind of almost sets up that there'll be a book 2, and maybe a 3 and a 4.
So do you think it was value for money for the £30 as well?
Yes, I really do. If, like I say, we got sent a code, but even if, and that was, I got sent a code, and that's what made me play it, made me get the VR out, because I was like, I'll give it a go, you know, I'll see what it's like, it's cute. But even if I'd have bought it myself, I would have come away from that experience with just utmost glee. You know, it's almost like, if that was a PS Plus title, I'd want to give Polyarc some money. You know, it's just like, you know, and I did tweet at them and just say how amazing it was, and they did tweet back, which was really nice. You know, it's quite nice to kind of just, so they know that they've made something incredibly special.
Yeah. That's cool. It sounds like it's really reverberated with you.
It really has. And they just like I say, I just started playing it again because I wanted to get more of the scrolls, and I just kept, you know, I'm just gonna, because I haven't got a platinum trophy yet on the PlayStation Network.
So this might be it.
So I thought, maybe this could be it. There's a couple of strange trophies, but I'm happy to maybe even, you know, dabble on the internets and maybe try and find out what they mean.
Get the use out of the PSVR before it goes back into mothballs.
Exactly. So I kind of played that. I played a few. It was really funny because I enjoyed that so much, and then I jumped into Starblood Arena, I think it was, and that made me instantly queasy. And that was a that came out on PlayStation Plus, where you're this big mech, and I was going through the tutorial, and I was like, oh, I feel a bit queasy. I'm like, I'll go back to Moss, and I couldn't get my
side.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't get my wands to charge for some reason. It's such a first world thing, isn't it? I couldn't get my wands to charge. So I was just stuck with the controller based VR experiences. So I kind of, while I had the hat on, I played it for a little bit longer. So that was Moss on PlayStation VR. I've also been playing Bridge Constructor Portal.
It's okay. This is a weird marriage. I remember we've spoken about this before, and so this is a bridge constructor, but with GLaDOS at the helm.
Yes, GLaDOS, you're in the laboratories, you're there, you are there. There's portals. It has the same sensibility and the same kind of, the same humour as Portal as well.
Okay. And, because I remember dabbling with, oh my God, I can't remember the name of them. Is it like Hamster Physics? Like years and years and years ago, and it was like you always had to try and get a ball from one side of the screen to the other, and
right.
And I could spend hours just making the most ridiculous contraptions, like to try and not necessarily get it there safely, and then you'd try and optimize it out so that you could get it over with the minimal amount of bits. Is this how this operates as well? Can you try and get a 4x4 to try and air over a gap if you give it the right little ramp beforehand?
Absolutely, and some of the puzzles, when you get to probably level 10 onwards, you have to do just that. There are so what you have is you have 6 or more kind of forklift trucks that need to get from one side to the other, or one portal to the other. They have to get to the exit, and then the first one just is you have to build a bridge. So I had to get used to that building that, making sure my structure was stable. You can run a test, which always makes me laugh when it just breaks halfway through, because I forgot to put some weight on the middle. I forgot to put some support in the middle, and then so that's kind of like level 2 and 3, and then I think by level 3 it starts then introducing portals.
Okay.
So you then have to get a bridge from one portal to the other, and there's multiple portals as well. They're different colours, so you know that blue is going to come out, a blue, orange is going to come out, orange, red is, so it's a little bit different to Portal. So you have one level where you have to kind of get to this blue portal, and then that spits it out, which then starts the momentum thing going that happens with Portal.
Right.
And then there's even companion cubes, and it really is one of those ones where you play a level, and I just sit there and just kind of stare at the screen and go, okay, what do you need? What should I do? And then starts the kind of 20 minutes of trying to work out and failing and trying again and failing and trying again. And it's fantastic. So you have your bridge constructions, and then you also have kind of like suspension wires as well. So you have 2 tools in your tool belt to build this bridge, so you can support it or just give it support. And then you just have to get there. Then once you get one over, you can then try to get the rest over. So you then just say, right, activate the convoy, and then they go over, and that's always nail biting, because you don't know if your bridge is going to break halfway through. And I'm at the moment, I'm not moving on to the next level. I'm almost applying the Nicola logic here. I'm not moving on to the next level until I've got, yes, exactly, all of my convoy are there, and it's just, there was one last night when I was playing it where I managed to do it, and just before the exit, I was clipping the people driving which looked like the little portal silhouettes, and I was clipping them off of the vehicles that they were in. So all the people were just falling into the green liquid, but my forklifts were making it, because they were just so, and it gave it to me. It was like, yes, excellent, you've got it. And I was like, I'll take that.
That's proper GLaDOS. It's like, forget the humans. Yeah, the machine survived.
Exactly. I've killed everyone, but there's nice 6 forklifts that are there, and it's so much fun. So I'm playing it on Xbox One. It's available on PlayStation 4 this week, and it's also available on Switch.
Nice. I'm just looking at the screenshots now, and I was thinking it's a nice puzzler because it's all on one screen. You don't have to scroll back and forth. But
yes,
how is it with the controller? Because I can equally imagine it would be as fiddly with my giant fingers tapping on a Switch screen. But how does it actually operate with the controller? Is it easy enough to pop down stanchions and ropes and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Working with a controller and I played it on the big screen and also on the smaller screen, as in the smaller TV that we've got in the room, and it was absolutely fine. It played really well with the controller. You can then, because as you highlight sections that you then want to turn into a road, they highlight orange, so you've got them. And if you make a mistake, you can just press a button and it will go back, so you can almost do an undo. You can do a Control Z and it will undo, and you can also, and you can just easily do that with a controller. So it's very easy to it looks like a game that would be better with a keyboard and mouse, but it works just as well with a controller. I don't know what it would be like with your fingers. I don't know what it would be like on the Switch.
Yeah, because I'm half thinking it'd be a nice one just to dabble with while Ali's watching something on telly. But yeah, maybe. To be honest,
you can zoom in and out. I think.
Oh, can you?
Zoom in. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That might be a move to the Switch then. So yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And also, we haven't got it in the news, but I got an email today that was saying that you can now spend your gold Nintendo coins on your online purchases. So I had a look this afternoon because I got that email. I clicked on it, and I've got 300 gold coins in my Nintendo account, and that gave me £3 off. So that meant the Portal was £10.
Cool.
So
I will
3 and a bit Pokemon Snaps.
Log on to Nintendo to see. Cool. That sounds like you've been getting around the titles. Have you been playing anything else at all?
One other thing that I've been playing, and that is Forza Horizon in 4K.
So this is the original Forza Horizon.
This is the original 4K Forza. So I think last Thursday Microsoft announced that Forza, Crackdown, and Fable Anniversary, all 360 titles, got a 4K patch. The enhancement team the enhancement team's in Redmond, aren't they?
Yep.
These are awesome people doing awesome work. They are. So they put a patch on Forza Horizon. So I just thought I'd have a quick look in my library because I haven't got my disc versions. There's a few games that I still keep, and they are mostly kind of rare titles and Forza games and Halo. So it's mostly like they're the discs that I've kept, and they've all been packaged off, and they're now kind of with the people that are doing the movie room. And so I just had a quick look at my library, and I remembered that Forza Horizon was free with Games for Gold a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So I've got the digital version. So I saw this on the Xbox app, added it Saturday night to download. Sunday morning, got up nice and early, and there it was. So I just started playing it, and oh my lord, does it look good! Forza Horizon, which is a game that came out in 2012.
No, isn't that long ago?
Yes, my last achievement was 2013. So I got 2013 achievement, now 2018 achievement. It came out in 2012, and it looks absolutely stunning in 4K. It's just amazing. I mean, I read a Eurogamer article, I think, which is kind of what made me want to download this, and they said that the graphics have been improved by the kind of factor of 9. You know, the resolution has been increased 9 times, and it's...
That must be like a 720 picture then to start with. I can only imagine that's how they're tallying this up, but...
It must have been.
Yeah, the screenshots I saw of it looked... That side-by-side comparison was amazing, just what they can do. I mean... They are wizards. Literally what they do is wizardry. And I saw a great tweet that go out the other day. People are clamouring for 4K remakes of X, Y, or Z. And these guys are just slipping 4K remakes out for free. Yeah. And just silently going, here's another one. Yeah. I want to go back and play Crackdown. The 4K Crackdown, that is going to tempt me back to find a digital copy more than anything else.
Again, that was free a couple of months ago with Games of Gold and sitting in my library, so I downloaded that as well and started playing that, and it's amazing. Yeah. And that looks better than the Crackdown looked at E3 last year. You know, it looked really good. You know, it looked absolutely superb. You know, I was really impressed at Crackdown. I haven't played Fable Anniversary yet because that's in Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I'm going to join Game Pass, but I'm not going to join it just yet. And I was just waiting. But I just started playing Forza Horizon. I realised because what happens with Forza games, as you know, I'm a bit of a Forza nut. Terrible at it in multiplayer, as we found out. Although I did come first on Sunday, so terrible at it in multiplayer. But with Forza, you get the Forza Hub, and with every game, there is a set of qualifications that takes you to the next tier. So when a new Forza game comes out, you get brand new cars. They gift you cars based on your level, and also they give you monthly rewards. So you get credits, in-game credits. So the higher you rack up on all of these games, the more credits that you get. You know, my brother-in-law Brad, you know, he's even more of a Forza nut than I am, you know, and he probably gets gifted like £1 million credits per game every month, you know, so it just makes buying other cars really easy. So, you know, and he's always the one person, because in Forza it has that gamification where it's like there's 45 people behind you, they're my friends list, but there's one person in front of you, and it's always Brad. It's always Brad, you know, like, damn you, Brad, you know, just like, damn you. And it's just so I'm looking at Forza Horizon. It said I need to get more gamer score and own more cars and get more wristbands. So I was like, there you go. That's what I need to play from this. So I haven't synced my cloud save, so I started from the start, but I'm already up to orange wristband, and I'm just absolutely loving it because
it's
like
awesome. Taekwondo? I have no idea what these wristbands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it means you can kick cars harder. So it's a bit like Ken in Street Fighter. It's like that level. So yeah, though because Forza Horizon was that it was a big festival, so you get wristbands. So you start with like a blue wristband, and then you get red wristband, and the orange and purple and gold, and you have to race those races to get to the next level, basically, next section. And it's amazing. The soundtrack's great, you know, and it's just really good. I was loving what they've done to this. I just can't believe how amazing this looks.
That's superb. That's superb. I wonder whether there's is there like an internal vote between the team of what they should tackle next? I wonder if they're pulling it from any sort of like user data or like most sales or something like that. Because what do we have to do to get Viva Pinata on that list?
That's exactly what I was going to tweet Phil Spencer and say, how many donuts do I need to give these guys to get them? That would be so cool. Trouble in Paradise.
Yes.
Or the original. See, Trouble in Paradise, I still have that complete collection achievement. That I still have not got that complete collection, because I've got to do a Flutterscotch garden and something else, and that's what's stopping me from doing that. And it gnaws at me that is still not complete. Nicola's done it; she's complete. I think I've got a pinata race to win, and so and because I haven't got any of my cloud saves, I've got to start again. But that's no mean. I don't care, you know. But if they said like 4K patch, I do not care what is out. That would just be amazing.
I tell you what, when we're done with, so we've got Rocket League queued up, we've got Burnout Paradise queued up, we've got Sea of Thieves queued up. When we're through with those, we'll go online and do some pinata racing. We'll get those achievements ticked off. Yes.
It's like, could you do that multiplayer?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
That was my life for 6 months. We've got the co-op garden. Should we put some mini games in? Yeah, you're not busy, are you, James? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's just so cool. Yes, there you go. We will race, Burnout, Sea of Thieves, a bit more Forza, and then we'll just like... That is just so cool. Yes, because I need that achievement. There. I think I am 2 achievements away from thousandsing Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise.
Nice.
And getting 4K of that would amazing. And that's it. I started looking like how can I get Viva Pinata kind of pushed up this ladder. I was just like, what do I need to do? Phil Spencer, help me.
Good stuff.
So that's it. So really good. Really, it's it's almost like the gaming lull that I think we all had maybe after Christmas has really kind of started to disappear.
Indeed, yeah. I think it's going to start building back up again. I think, as we just said, we got planning to play some Rocket League this weekend. I think when you get your Batman packs.
It's out now. It's out today.
It's out now.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So sometime this week there'll be some Rocket League, and then Burnout Paradise next week. So.
Yes. Even though Matt's thinking about playing Burnout Paradise this week because it's free with it. Yeah, although it's available with EA Access, isn't it, for 10 hours?
Yeah, well, it's 10 hours of Avril Lavigne for him, I think. So
he'll burn through that. He'll burn through that in the night, won't he? That's those 10 hours. He won't
even be playing. He'll just be parked in the back lot somewhere.
just playing and nodding along. Right, so that's what we've been playing. So let's jump into the news section. But before we jump into the news section, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast free on iTunes and YouTube. So in the news this week, we have Monster Hunter sales figures. Capcom are saying this is the biggest game ever. Chucklefish have an update on their next game, and EA. I'm still excited about Viva Pinata 4K, and EA share info on the next Battlefield James, first piece of news is with you.
Yes, yeah. Battlefield heads the way this week, and after Battlefield 1 was such a success, I'm sure the jokes were doing the round that Battlefield 2 would be next on the release docket, and actually it is. Although rather the leaks have confirmed that it's actually called Battlefield 5, or rather a V. I don't know if they're going to do the Churchill V sign, what have you, but a few reports have been doing the rounds, and the main one says that after some internal reports, some internal leaking from VentureBeat, they have got word that the next Battlefield is indeed going to be set into World War II. Even more interesting behind that, they were saying that they were trying to give some space to the modern and the future wars that have been in the last few Battlefields prior to this. So it's almost like they went back to went back to World War One as a bit of a palate cleanser, so as not to go straight for the well-worn tale of World War Two. But yeah, after Call of Duty this year, they're heading straight back to there for the first time in about 8 years. Which is, I think we've spoken about this before, but I'm always slightly unnerved now by historical conflicts. I am this sort of like, not saying it shouldn't happen, but it just doesn't sit well with me, and it always feels a bit weird when they go back and make a big song and dance of going back to the World Wars, especially. And I probably the older I get, the more grumpy I get in this area. But having spoken to like a few friends at work about this as well, like the younger whippersnappers. Like this is comparatively fresh again, because if we think about how long it's been since the World War II thing, it's been 10 years since that was really a proper trope.
Yes.
And so there's a whole new generation of gamers who haven't been tired of this, who haven't seen this rigmarole happen again and again and again of storming the beaches of Normandy, maybe with loot crates or not. But yeah, here we go again, back to World War II.
But you're totally right about that this could actually be someone's very first World War II game.
Yeah, which is, considering the plethora that were on
Yes.
offer when the 360 launched and for the few years after that seems nuts to even make a statement like that. But
Yeah. Well, you just don't think about that, do you? You just don't think about that generation, the younger generation at that point, who were playing maybe cartoony games and now kind of ready to play some first-person shoot 'em up, and now it's World War II. That's kind of blown my mind a little bit.
Yeah,
That's really bizarre. Because like you say, I've stormed Normandy more times than I'd cared, more times than I've had hot dinners. But it's just, that could be someone's first. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, and I honestly don't mean to like talk down to the youngers who's got ages on their side. It is that revelation, like going, we've gone through a whole cycle where this was once old hat and now it is new again. That is penciled in to come out at the end of this year. And I think even EA was surprised at how well the Battlefield 1 did, because they've actually had 25 million players on it, and it sold faster than Battlefield 4 prior to that, which I think was another modern or near future shooter. So there's definitely interest in this style of games they've been doing for anyway. So it's not just about I need modern weaponry.
I quite like the idea of them kind of tackling this now, because the way that they played the Battlefield 1, where they had the vignettes, so they were jumping around different. They had different troops. Each one was very different. You had the Italian platoon that were in these almost like walking tank armors, and they were flamethrowers. So they had that, and then they had they took to the air, and then they had tank combat. And if they did something similar for World War II, that could be quite interesting. They must have kicked themselves when Call of Duty went back to World War II last year, because they've obviously been making this game for 3 years, and then suddenly Call of Duty like, we're World War II, and everyone at Activision was like, damn it, we're there next year. But it's just, I guess that's how it's always going to be, isn't it? There's only so many wars they can depict.
Yeah, I think for me the interesting snippet that hasn't been leaked is whether that, and bearing in mind Battlefield is a large scale multiplayer game, it usually has like 64, I'm sure, in the last few iterations or so.
I think so, yes.
Whether they go down that battlegrounds route and have the last man surviving wins, and have that the PUBG approach to it all. So whilst the actual name and genre and era has been leaked, I still want to know whether that's going to feature or not, because I'm sure that this is going to be the bandwagon to jump on this year.
Right.
This is the time where the AAAs will probably have had enough time just to try and see if they can squeeze something in.
Is that what you think, that the kind of next, like this E3, a lot of Battle Royale kind of is going to be kind of bounded around, you know?
Yeah, and I can see how Battlefield could actually slip it in as another mode rather than a primary mode, where I think Call of Duty, which is more fast-paced and smaller maps, would struggle to legitimately try and squeeze it in their roster.
Yes, yeah, no, that's really cool. So that's been confirmed, hasn't it, with EA, that it is definitely Battlefield V?
I think it has been confirmed purely because the original story was saying that it was called Battlefield 2.
Right.
And yeah, I'm trying to read through it at the moment, but I think at the moment they have not necessarily fully acknowledged it, but they basically said it's not going to be Battlefield 2.
Excellent stuff. Superb. And next piece of news is with me. Now, this is I think the list came out last week, but all of these titles are available now, and that's the PS Plus games for March. And these games are so good, I just had to kind of include them in the list this week, even though it was kind of like last week's news. But right now, if you are a PS Plus subscriber, you can download, and you should be downloading, you can download Bloodborne. So Bloodborne is now available for PS Plus. So the full game, Bloodborne, is available, which I know Darren used to talk a lot about. Bloodborne. He absolutely loved Bloodborne, and I never got to try it. I was very close a couple of times. I think if Boomerang would have existed back then, I probably would have boomeranged it. But so Bloodborne. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to try. I've got the PS4 out now, so I'm going to try Bloodborne. But even bigger than Bloodborne is Ratchet and Clank. Is also this month's PS4.
I wonder where you were going with that. So,
Ratchet and Clank?
No, I never had a PlayStation during the Ratchet and Clank boom, so I've missed out on this cult. But yeah, if these are two big hitters, they are two
really
big games for them.
Absolutely, and that's why I just had to include it, because like Ratchet and Clank it's almost a retelling of the very first Ratchet and Clank, where Ratchet meets Clank. I think it was a movie tie-in. There's a movie that's kind of almost all of the cutscenes of this game. But this game has been up-resed. It is as close to you're playing a Pixar movie I think we've come in this generation, especially if you play it on a PS4 Pro and a nice 4K screen. This game just looks stunning, and the fact that they've included it in PS Plus, I just think is incredible. So we've got Bloodborne, Ratchet and Clank. We also have Mighty Number 9 as well, is on PS3 with cross-play or cross-buy for PS4. So there's Mighty Number 9 as well in this list. There's also Legend of Kai, which is for PS3, Claire the Extended Cut, which is PS Vita and PS4, and
what is Claire?
I don't know. There's not a link in the show notes.
There.
I was like, I'll just try and click on it. Yeah. No one will notice. We're professionals. There's also Bombing Busters as well, which is PS4, PS Vita and PlayStation 4. And Bombing Busters looks a lot like Bomberman. They've got a link for that one, James. So they're just clear anytime on clear. And then so that is this month's PS Plus titles.
I found it.
Extra awesome. So there's Claire Extended Cut, which I know, James, you really like. What is Claire?
Yes, let me tell you about Claire. So it appears to be a blend of modern and retro pixel art techniques, creating a rich 2.5D world with volumetric lighting and real-time shadows. From my memory, it's a panic-based horror.
Ah, right.
That reacts to your decisions and Claire's panic levels. So yeah, it looks like a bit of a horror pixely type thing. The actual graphics and screenshots look quite interesting, because it does have pixel art but with some weird distortion effects, almost like they've been artifacted. So yeah, that one's weird.
If only you could see James's face right now. It's hilarious.
What am I looking at?
The puzzle. So that's the PlayStation Plus games. But then PlayStation have also said that they are now going to start wrapping up on giving PS3 and PS Vita games away with PlayStation Plus. So they announced this month that you've still got a year, but by March 2019, there will no longer be any PS3 or PS Vita titles included in the PlayStation subscription. And I think it was quite cool that they've given a year, because there could be someone who is still PS3 Vita, they've just renewed their PS Plus, for some reason they haven't bought a PS4, and so they've given them a year, so they obviously, so that membership hasn't been wasted. So by this time next year, there'll be no more kind of Vita and PS3. So it's like PlayStation are finally putting a line through those consoles and kind of putting them out to pasture.
Yeah, I think they've done a really decent thing there, giving that sort of 12-month warning. As you say, let's prepaid cards play out if you've got a PS3, the last gen model. But fair play for them to carry it on this long as well, because we're 4 years, we'll be 5 years after we saw the last of the PS3s. It's you can't deny they've supported it, and the fact the Vita is still there, kicking along. Yes. I'm surprised they found anything left to give that away for, but so.
There's still a title that they haven't given away. You know, that's probably it. They're probably looking at the catalogue game. We've only got 12 games left on Vita to give away. I
really hope the last ones are the best ones, because I still think I don't think they've given away Uncharted on the Vita, which was, I can remember getting that as a launch title. So I can imagine the last hurrah for the PS3 is we're going to have Gran Turismo, all the Uncharted collections, have Uncharted on the Vita as well. It's just like, it's a Mardi Gras time.
There you go. Just as the Switch is going to give something big, they're like, there you go, we'll give you this. But I haven't, I mean, literally, since I got my Switch, it was my bag for work. The Vita came out and the Switch goes back into that spot now. Yep. It just doesn't. And I love my Vita because it was great indie console, but now that's what the Switch is as well now. You know, the Switch has just literally just taken its place, and it is but it also has Mario.
Yeah. As soon as that came out, that was it. I actually picked up my 3DS this week as well, because after last time when we spoke so lovingly about Luigi's Mansion, I thought I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna carry on playing Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS, but then Pokemon Snap distracted me. So expect that as the retro game for next week.
Superb. But I am really impressed at that lineup. Like Ratchet & Clank and Bloodborne alone is just two amazing titles, I think, this month. Yeah, they've done well. And available now, right now. So, James, the next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, and it is with Monster Hunter. And Capcom have announced that Monster Hunter has shipped 7.5 million copies in, I think it's only 5 weeks since it launched, so it's done gangbusters. And what this actually means is that it is Capcom's biggest selling single game ever, and that's over their 38-year history, and that's like, if you have to take into consideration Resident Evil, Mega Man, Dead Rising, and any single Street Fighter. So Monster Hunter has really trumped some of the most iconic titles in the business. And I'm assuming there's some sort of caveat, because I'm sure if you count the actual number of Street Fighters sold over the years, over all the platforms and all the ports and all the variations. But for a single SKU, this is it for Capcom. This is the gravy train has arrived at the station. And I guess I'm not surprised, considering how many people I know have played this. But it seems to have arrived out of comparatively nowhere for the rest of the series. I mean, I know it's mostly been a Japan only, or even over on the handhelds for a lot of the recent iterations. But then to pop up, I think it chose the right time of year when it was relatively quiet. It got a really good buzz coming out of it, and I think they softened up a lot of the more obscure systems. I mean, I know I complained about it being quite arduous at times and long-winded, but compared to previous iterations, I'm told this was a walk in the park. So they just seem to have struck that right balance of making it more accessible, the right time, but still keeping that depth and the quality that means people want to go deep on it, and it's served them well with those numbers.
There really is something to be said about that kind of mid-January time, isn't there? That slot. You know, there are a lot of games that have come out, like, was it Daylight, or the zombie game where
I know which one you mean.
Yes, that came out in exactly the same time and sold incredibly well. It's even though we have all of these brand new games that we maybe get for Christmas come out in November, by the time it comes to January, everybody wants something new, don't they? And then for this to come out, like you say, kind of do that. And and both you and I, we kind of respect this game and tried to play it, but it just wasn't for me. And I'm guessing the same. It was like, as you said, it wasn't for you. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it wasn't for you either. It's just, but I'm just more power to it, because and this is the first time in, like I say, in a long time, it's been away from Nintendo as well. So it just shows that there is an appetite for it and on kind of non-Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, and I think it almost will go to further the fact that console exclusives, if we have the odd one, like when Microsoft bought up Tomb Raider and Sony got Res Evil, it's the amount that they can sell if they go across both will just probably any paycheck that could be offered. Well, the paycheck would have to be huge to counter anything like this to batch up 3.5 million copies. But I mean, we even think back. Like, I remember, I'm sure, like the first time I can remember, like an early year, like a late winter, early spring release that bucked the trend was probably Lost Planet, and that was Capcom as well. They seem to make a. Maybe it was Dead Rising as well. I could be probably making that up, but yeah, I can remember Lost Planet coming out at in the early time of the year, and because there was nothing else there, loads of people just went to it because it was this weird giant beasts on a snow world with guns, and it was quite unique at the time. It was that weird Japanese culture, I guess, bleeding into Westerners who don't pay attention to what's going over there half the time. So it's like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So yeah.
And they were fantastic games as well. I really enjoyed them. It's quite interesting. I don't know if you heard that Iron Galaxy, Adam Boyes, who used to be part of Sony, is now working with Iron Galaxy. And they started tweeting. I don't know if it's just to see if they can get any traction, but they started tweeting saying to Capcom that they would happily do a port for the Nintendo Switch for Monster Hunter. So they're saying, there was a tweet which was like, "Dear Monster Hunter team at Capcom, we understand that we would like to port the Nintendo Switch because we understand it's a challenge. It's what we do." And they showed a picture of Skyrim. They were like, "It's what we do. Give us a shout, winky face." So I think I would probably try and
that game would survive on the Switch. I just think it's.
It would be so blocky, it would so junky, but I mean, the online play would kill it, wouldn't it? It would really it'd have to be a separate version, a different version of Monster Hunter.
But yeah, and little snippet at the end as well. I think that's 48 million copies of all Monster Hunters sold now. They've shipped 48 million.
48 million,
which is nuts over the franchise's history. So. It ain't going anywhere, I think. It just seems to be getting bigger.
Yes. Wow, that's incredible. It's quite interesting. Going from Monster Hunter to Chucklefish, a one-man studio. So Chucklefish, the publishers of one of my favourite games of last year, but wasn't eligible for the Game of the Year chat, Stardew Valley. I won't let that go. Stardew Valley is working on its next title. So they tweeted out it was a great article on Game Informer. I'll stick a link to it in the show notes. And they tweeted out a shot of their next game that they're working on. They're still doing some stuff for Stardew, but their next game is Spellbound. So Spellbound, which is similar, kind of has a similar look and feel of Stardew Valley, but it's around a kind of a wizarding school. Obviously, instantly it's like Hogwarts, it's like Harry Potter. And it just looks very interesting. There's a screenshot with little wizards and kind of running around in a very Stardew Valley-esque. So they said the game revolves around your path through a school, the relationships you build, the mastery of several schools of magic at your disposal. They did say that they're obviously drawing influence from Harry Potter, but they said that their magic is going to be more practical, kind of taking inspiration from Terry Pratchett, Garth Nix, and Studio Ghibli. So I kind of think that all of this just makes for kind of my next obsession with a Chucklefish game. One of the comments of it was combat in this Game Informer article, which I'll stick a link to, is that combat is also a key feature, and the team describes the iteration is reminiscent to a Zelda-like retro action RPG.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of saying the right words throughout all of that, and I'm very interested in this now.
It looks a far brighter prospect as well. I mean, in terms of the actual aesthetics, looking at the screenshot that's in front of me, Stardew Valley had this, I guess, earthy tones to it.
Yes.
And admittedly, this is one screenshot of, to pigeonhole it, looking like Diagon Alley.
Yes.
But there seems far brighter. There's more pastels. There's more lightness to it all. And everyone seems to be wearing wizarding hats.
Yes.
So just to really reinforce that.
Which is just awesome. I just love the look of this game. So it's just, I mean, who knows when it's coming out? Because as I said, that Chucklefish is just a kind of 1-2 man team. So they're working on some stuff. They're working with Stardew Valley, which is the multiplayer, which will be out later this year. So who knows kind of how long this will be? Maybe it's next year. But just the fact that they're working on something else, and we're going to get that Chucklefish magic in another game, it just fills me with joy.
Yeah, it looks like it might be probably out sooner rather than later, just because it's the same, because it's got that same look, maybe that same top-down stuff. Hopefully they're reusing the engine, so it will at least have a good start. Good start.
Yes. So that So it's a game called Spellbound. Like I say, I'll stick a link to this Game Informer article because it's a good quick read. So Spellbound, hopefully out soon.
Fantastic. And the final piece of news is with me, and it's about remote play. So Sony and PlayStation have had this for a while, and Xbox are getting around to it as well with their own little interpretation on remote play. So Xbox already has the app that you can launch on a PC or a Mac. Is it on the Mac as well, did you say, Antony?
It's on a Mac via an app. There's a different app called OneCast.
Okay, so yeah, you can remote in to your Xbox from any PC or Mac in your entire network at your home. But now they're going further than that through Mixer. So they're actually baking in the controls to the streaming service that allows anyone streaming on Mixer to pass control to anyone in their viewing stream. Wow. So I imagine Twitch plays Pokemon. This is where you can almost just harvest out your game to anyone watching you. And I guess on a larger scale, this could be great fodder for views, as the big streamers just hand out control randomly to someone in the audience and see what hilarity ensues. But on a smaller scale, if I'm playing something with you, Antony, or if you're stuck on something or I'm stuck on something, I can hand control over to you and you go, okay, that's how we do it. But I just love the idea that it is this twofold solution of, you can hand over control to a friend, but then the entertainment, the watching, the streaming aspects could take on to different levels itself. Because I've used the Xbox app on my PC a few times.
Right.
When Ali's been watching something on telly and I've wanted to carry on. I think we might have even played Forza Horizon one night with me remoting through my Surface onto my Xbox, so like combating the lag that's going through my network. And it handled ridiculously well because I was playing a racing game and... you couldn't tell. My driving sucks usually, so it wasn't.
You probably still came first, didn't you?
So I'm the kind of person that would actually use this, and I would be very intrigued to see if it's like the kind of stuff I could turn on my Xbox at home and then play something from work if I've forgotten to take my Xbox in or something. I want to test the limits of this because it's new weird tech, and I want to prod it.
Yes, absolutely. I remember once playing the remote play on PlayStation 4. So a friend of mine was playing Batman Arkham Knight. Third shout out to Batman. But a friend of mine was playing Arkham Knight, and he got stuck on a level. So I was watching him, and I was like, right, okay, you need to go over there, and he got a little bit kind of frustrated. So he handed me control. So he's up in Liverpool, I'm in Tom Wells, and I just took control of his of his PlayStation 4 and got him through that level. And then I just handed back control, and it blew my mind. I think I remember talking about it on the pod when that happened, and I was just like, it was just incredible. It's just fantastic. But the thing I love about this, and I think it was the advert that they showed on Mixer. I was watching Major Nelson stream on Mixer, and they showed an advert, and they showed someone playing Minecraft, and all of the people watching were just adding pigs to their level. So there was just pigs all around the level. And I just thought we could have so much fun with Matt. Yeah, exactly. It's like, here you go, Matt. Here's a little pig. Here's another pig. And just fill his world up with pigs.
Just keep turning the radio away from Avril Lavigne. It's like, nope. Nope.
Another track. But yeah, though, this is just great fun. And I just love the fact that it's not only kind of what we've seen before, there's a new take on it. There's something new. And I think that's just absolutely fantastic. And giving more control over Mixer, I think, is just kind of really kind of making that a really good platform.
Yeah, I think they're trying their best to make it a value-added proproposition, or whatever you want to give it more features than Twitch, to try and make people come to it, to try it out. Or half of me cynically thinks it's like, put in enough features, people might just come for a dabble and actually find out it's quite good and stay. I guess it's like trying to tempt people through that door, isn't it? So, yeah.
The only downside with Mixer is that I tried to watch the Major Nelson show on VOD, and there was no fast forward. So I had to sit and wait for this countdown for 7 minutes, because it was like, and then even worse than this was I moved my controller, picked my controller up, or went to get some coffee or something, and I knocked the controller and it went back to 0 again, and I was just like, no, I'll wait for it to come out audio. And just left it. I was like, dear Mixer, could you please just put a fast forward on your VOD?
Forget your controller streaming, have fast forward.
Yeah. So it was just I was like, damn it, well, I'll go to YouTube instead. But it is just, it's great, just especially, with Sea of Thieves coming out, Mixer is just such a great platform for that. And so is this addition, is that something that you have to turn on in your game to allow people to do that? Or?
I believe so. Yeah, there's a little GIF and video showing how you do it. So yeah, you have to subscribe to fools dropping pigs into your world. I
love it if that was the checkbox. Subscribe to fools. Check.
Fools subcategory pigs ? So yeah, this is on the dashboard preview as well at the moment, so it's for people on the Insider program who can already have a dabble at this, and if it's like everything else, it'll probably hit the mainstream in about a month, if a little less. So yeah, it's the final stages of testing. Fantastic.
But I guess we're probably getting back into that update stream now, because it seems to be happening all the time. Like I say, there's like an alpha and beta ring, isn't there, for changes, so it does seem they do bubble out quite quickly. And you get those new features.
Yeah, I was trying the avatar editor the other day. I'm not quite sure what ring that's into. So trying to recreate my the avatar on the Xbox One. Fortunately, facial hair isn't in the initial update, so I am sadly looking like my very old avatar, which is blue and faceless. Not faceless. Oh, you know what I mean. Anyway.
Yes. Oh, I remember back in the days when you were faceless, James. That's so cool. But at some point, and I guess probably around E3, there are those next-gen avatars. Do you remember they showed that... they showed the trailer of the next-gen avatars that are looking almost very kind of DreamWorks, very Pixar-like. So that must be coming soon at some point.
Yes, I think they are. I think they're treading that nice line as well. I've always said that the PlayStation Home avatars were just terrifying mannequins from hell, and I always like I do like the Nintendo Miis, but they just lack that balance. But I think, as you say, that DreamWorks, like Pixar-ish level, it strikes a happy medium between going, okay, you are a person, and I can tell who you are, but also you can add. What did I have? I think I had a Jurassic Park Jeep that buzzed around my feet for a while, and Just ridiculous little toys to go with it.
Yes, I loved those on the 360. When we got that update, I remember that update kind of came out. I was probably in the preview program or whatever. And then that update came out and you just spent an entire night doing your avatar, making your avatar.
Yes.
And I was even buying T-shirts, I was just buying stuff for my avatar. And my avatar had, it probably
Patches?
Still does. No, it has. Actually, yes. At one point I did have a jacket with patches. I had this jacket with patches, and then I got a Batman T-shirt.
Okay.
So the patches Batman superseded the patches. But then I think I had a little Elo Milo. Was it Elo Milo? That game?
Yeah.
Yes, so I had a little Elo Milo running around. So that's probably still there, happening somewhere. So I loved it.
I can remember playing Elo Milo, whatever. It depends on which continent you're on. I think they call it different.
Yes.
I did actually play that on my Windows Phone. That was one of the few nice games that came out on my Windows Phone at the time. So.
And you got achievements as well, didn't you? As well for the Windows Phone.
Which is why I played it on my Windows Phone.
I remember there was the word game. There was a word game that was available on the iPhone, and you got achievements, and that just blew my mind.
Wordament.
Yes.
That was a great game. I loved
that. Was
Wordament.
Amazing. Yes.
Like Speed Boggle.
Yes, it was so good. So good that you got achievements, and it was awesome. Right, and that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening, James. Big thank you for pulling up on mic.
Pleasure as ever.
Excellent stuff. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamerslostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. James, where can people catch up with you?
You can find me as Big Sheep on all known platforms.
That just gets me every time. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamerslostspark.com. That's about it. Say goodbye, James.
Bye-bye.